Ask yourself whether reality is a dream. Are you a dream or reality? We're all a part of the answer to the meaning of it all. Come and join us for the moment we call now. Rise up, join in, raise the whole vibration.
Hello. It is Thursday, July 24th, and you have arrived at the live stream of consciousness. Yes, it's that moment again where we connect into the flow, into the stream of consciousness, and we all kind of just feel the vibration of whatever's happening at the moment. This is my happy place, and you have joined me here, whether intentionally or by accident. I see Ninja Kitty out there. I know she's here intentionally. Tim probably will pop up. It's our happy place. Yes. So if you are here and you're watching live, if it's Thursday, July 24th, then just do me a favor, type in hashtag live in the comments. That will tickle the algorithm out there, the AI robots, and let them know that something's going on and that they should pay attention, because that's what's happening. We're bringing attention to high vibrational stuff. Always have amazing guests. You guys know the last couple of weeks have been pretty cool with an amazing retreat in Costa Rica. As a matter of fact, my guest tonight was one of the facilitators at the retreat in Costa Rica, with something very interesting. I'm excited to bring this to the show. It's something new that I hadn't really heard of in this particular form. I think we've all heard of generational trauma and energy that's carried throughout past lives and things like that, but this is very specific with families. It's called Family Constellations. We're going to learn all about that tonight, so I'm excited to have that going on. Thank you, Ninja Kitty, for the hashtag live. If you're watching the replay, you could type in hashtag replay if it's not Thursday, for the people who are showing up late, or just say hello. Just give me a thumbs up, give me a thumbs down, whatever you do, it helps. I prefer the thumbs up. Anyway, I told you guys what an amazing retreat we had, and I've actually spoken to Hardy, who put the retreat together, and we might actually have a group chat here with a bunch of people from the retreat and talk specifically about the retreat. But like I said, I encountered so many great things, and my guest tonight was the facilitator for Family Constellations. I'm going to let her tell you all about it. Welcome to the live stream of consciousness, Heather. What's happening, Heather?
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm glad you said yes when I asked you if you would come.
Yeah, what a beautiful platform this is. I'm really grateful to be here. Thank you so much for having me. And it was really nice to meet you at the Solar Return Retreat in Costa Rica. It was an amazing retreat and an amazing opportunity to share my gifts and also to meet all of you. And really, it's really been really life-changing for me as well as a facilitator, and just to see, the evolution throughout the week there was amazing.
Yes, totally. And what I really liked about what you brought to the table was, I see when I'm involved with spirituality and different exercises and practices, I definitely see a crossover in the idea of healing and therapy, right? So you are integrative health and wellness therapist, right? Mm-hmm. on kind of like the medical side of it. No, I don't want to say medical side of it, but the more official mainstream, side of it. And then on the spiritual side, you bring these family constellations to the table. So
yes.
It was the first time I had ever heard it put that way. Do you want to explain to the audience what exactly that is?
My background is in clinical psychology. So I'm blending a blend of science and spirit. So really like science and academia, and also earth-based practices and integrative practices and holistic practices, and more esoteric and spiritual type of things is my jam, really. Like, I'm a bridge person.
Totally, a bridge person. So I get that. I understand the different realms that need to be bridged, and I understand the impact of energy. And actually, I think my audience mostly gets that right. That's really what this show is based on. That
Wow.
everything is energy, right? And especially, I think what's interesting about what you're doing is it's the energy that we carry with us,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And maybe don't understand where it came from or why we're carrying it. It just kind of became a part of who we are, and so we just do it, right? And I think you bring that to light. There was an amazing exercise that you did. It was a whole like 3 or 4 hour exercise of really going deep into the lineage of the particular subject that we were kind of focusing on at the moment. um so
Yes, yes, it was quite an experience to be with such an open group as well, that was so open to learning about this and to trying it out. And what I love about Family Constellations healing with our ancestors is that you don't have to have any prior experience. You don't have to know anything about it. You don't have to do anything. You could just show up exactly how you are, and then it all unfolds exactly as it's supposed to in the moment for that time and for that group and for that person.
yeah, totally. But also, I guess, kind of just being a witness, right? I didn't participate in the particular exercise other than witnessing it, but I think
Right.
even for the witnesses, I think the message comes through, the idea of what you're showing, even though it's very specific to that case of that person, right?
Yeah.
The message is universal, I think, about
Thank you.
how the energy translates, right, from generation to generation. And then you teach us tools on how to really kind of cope with that and how to release that energy, and boundaries. There's a lot of things that are very deep spiritual practices that came up in that exercise that I saw, that I experienced. I thought it was really amazing.
That's nice to hear how it is to be for someone that's witnessing it and did not actually participate in the exercises and in the constellations, because that's something that's a cornerstone of this practice as well, is that everybody that attends and just witnesses, even if you don't want to do your own story, you don't want to process your own thing, you don't want to participate in exercise, you don't want to represent in any way, then you can still have an experience just witnessing it.
hmm hmm Yeah, for sure. I definitely did. So, all right, I want to get into that, but I jumped too far ahead. I want to talk more about
Okay.
you and who you are, because I just felt like that particular group of people. There was a lot of people. There was over 30 people, and I
Yes.
think there was probably about 5 facilitators, all with
Hmm.
different practices, and kind of they brought different stuff to the table. But I think everybody had a different energy. Everybody carries their own essence, and you have this very, very uplifting, bubbly energy. I think that really helped break the ice for some people there, because there were some people there that were kind of shy and a little more introverted, and reserved, I guess would be a good word, right? And I think, you mentioned that everybody was really open to what you had to bring to the table, which they
Mhm.
were, but like kind of in a quiet way. And I think you brought this kind of more bubbly energy, this higher energy, um,
Yeah.
with a big smile all the time, and not so serious, right? Like not so
Yeah.
serious all the time.
Well, I have a strong inner child, active inner child.
hmm
So that's good, because it comes out, and it does ease things for people when we're like going to do some pretty deep healing work, to have like energy playfulness, I think, but that's just from my
Absolutely.
family. That's from my own energy system that I come from, really. So
Absolutely. Yeah, no, and I agree, because it's like it is pretty heavy when you think about it, and the things that are happening and you're talking about and dealing with, but to
yes.
have that kind of like smile about it and kind of the fun thing. So I see Tony out there from New Zealand. What's up, Tony? I love it when we
Hi,
go in.
Tony.
We're triple international now. We got Costa Rica, we got New Zealand, we got the United States. And I
I've
see
always wanted to go to New Zealand.
Angelo out there as well. What's up, Angelo? So again, I want to talk about you a little bit. So you started in a more traditional role, I guess you would say,
Yes.
right? Like a traditional therapist. And
Yes,
what?
social worker, clinical therapist. I worked at Yale for 15 years before I transitioned into more of the holistic, earth-based stuff I do, and moving to Costa Rica. So yeah, I spent a lot of time in the academic side and the clinical side of helping children, families, and people with trauma, substance issues, mental health issues, behavioral health issues, whatever was going on for them. And yeah, so all my training came from very classic psychotherapy.
Gotcha. Awesome. So I'm going to ask you what was the catalyst, but normally the show starts with this question, and I've been trying to change it a little bit because I'm realizing that I don't really need to know the answer, right? Because I know the answer, but I usually start the show with this question, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. And that is, what is consciousness? What does that even mean, and how does that relate to what we're talking about?
Yes, that is something I don't think I have the authority to fully answer, because I feel like we're all just trying to figure it out, and nobody really knows the answer to this. Really, like where does it come from? Where are our thoughts originating from? Like, how are we moving through the world, and how is this information coming into our brain, from where and from what point, and what is the access point? And then also, like, I guess something I'm working on in my own life right now is learning how to be an observer and a witness, stepping outside of my own daily personality stuff and my day-to-day 9 to 5, and then learning how to use some practices to be more observant from a witness standpoint, to have some actual a space between my ears that's like a Joe Dispenza talks about, almost like a space into the spaciousness, where we can have a break actually from the monkey mind and all the mental chatter, that's going on a lot of the time in our brains all the time. So in terms of where does consciousness come from, I have no idea, but I know that I feel that I'm starting to at least learn some practices to be able to observe as a witness a little bit more.
And that's a great answer. And it's funny. Some people respond that it could be overwhelming, the question, right? And like I don't know. And the truth of the matter is, as human beings with our language, we're kind of limited. So it's almost ineffable, right, to describe what it actually is, right? But I guess I just like to ask that question in terms of, the awareness, the I am, the ability to be aware, right? The energy of being aware. But the reason I even brought it back up was because the next question was kind of the catalyst for how you went from the traditional education and practices that you were doing into the more metaphysical practices. Do you have the moment that you remember where you were like, wait a second, there's more to it than just the 3D physical wake up and go to work, aspect of being?
Well, okay. There's been several moments in my life that I was aware that there was, how did you say, more than the 3D? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, something beyond,
Yeah.
what we've been told, like, hey, you wake up, you go to work, that's all there is to it, right? The
Right.
physical, so the metaphysical, or the other realms, like, what was it that you said, oh, wait a second, there's more to it?
Well, I had a lot of experiences growing up as a child with my own, I feel like, dream space. As a child, I had a really active dream space when I would go to sleep, and I would go to these amazing worlds and places that to me as a child seemed like really normal and okay, this is amazing, just like, but they were really, really, really vivid. I've always had a very active kind of dream place. And then there was a couple times in my life where I actually, as a child, that I had other experiences of almost being like on another planet even, or something like that, and being able to see the earth from above. And so there was kind of those things, but I thought those were what everybody has as kids, you know, very active imagination, everything. And then I was fortunate enough to be raised by pretty open-minded spiritual parents that were, you know, actively seeking on their own spiritual path, and like trying to figure things out, and reading a lot of books and philosophy, and going to workshops, and going all sorts of things. So I was very much primed for this path, you know, you know, for better or for worse, really. It was like, okay, that was what my soul chose to incarnate with, this particular family, this particular dynamics. And thankfully they had some tools to offer and to navigate. And those even included, you know, as a young person growing up, you know, my mom, she ended up going to, you know, the jungle, and she went to Peru, and she started experimenting with plant medicine when I was a teenager, and she came back and she started doing drum circles and things like this, and sweat lodges. And then I was in women's sweat lodges, and earth-based shamanic practices, and drumming and journeying, and real practices like that. And then I had my father reading about, you know, Deepak Chopra, and then, you know, like all these different, you know, on the dinner table, there was, you know, these books about all these different teachers and everything like that. And so, and then what happened is, so that was my childhood. And then we had a traumatic experience in our family when I was 21, and my sister passed away. I was 24, my sister was 21, and she passed away very young. And it was at that moment that I started to realize that there was like so much wisdom in death. And so my family went through a death portal with my sister. She was diagnosed with a brain tumor at age 21 and died within 6 months. And we didn't know she had it the whole time. And the journey of the death portal at such a young age was like a direct transmission of also being connected to something other than the here and now. And when my family, when we went through that together as a family, my parents had the wisdom to bring in like art therapists and musicians and people doing massage and occupational therapy and all these different things on her body and for her mind and her soul, like to, you know, as she was transitioning. And that gave me the inspiration, I feel, to incorporate those teachings that were very necessary when you're going through something like that. Those teachings that I always incorporated as then I went to become a social worker and everything, because I went through this amazing experience with my sister's death. And I was like, wow, these space holders, these people were able to hold space for my whole family and my sister's death. And they held us in this container, a sacred container. And I carried that with me forever, because then that's when the light bulb went off. I'm going to help people with, you know, all sorts of things, traumatic things, life changes, life transitions, all these different things like this. And then I got into family constellations because of my sister's death, because someone said, why don't you come and process in this way with this awesome modality? So, yeah, it's been a journey.
Yeah, no, amazing. And I think what a blessing. So I'm imagining that when you were growing up and these were your parents, like that wasn't very popular. It was almost like, you know, like not really known about even, right? I mean, it's only the last...
I guess they were kind of on the cutting edge or something, you know, and they were like, you know, they were very spiritual themselves growing up and open to these different things. And then, you know, I mean, they thought that I was the strange one, but I'm like, listen, you guys are the ones that brought me to this.
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, it sounds like you were exposed to it, right? So it wasn't. I mean, there are stories that different people that I talk to that grew up in very religious households, and it was almost like trying to turn away from that was what exposed them to some of the more
Yeah.
metaphysical things. You know what I mean? But you almost were like, kind of not groomed. That's not the right word. You kind of grew up in that environment where it was accepted, to explore however you felt the need to explore.
Yeah, and I have a lot of gratitude for that my parents offered those things. So thanks,
Mhm.
guys.
Totally. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, mom and dad.
Awesome. Awesome. And I mean, I thought I know you've been doing retreats now. So besides like, going from like a regular kind of, again, mainstream practice to a life in Costa Rica, and traveling around and kind of going, here for a week and there for a week and working with different groups. Tell us about that experience. How has that been? That's only been the last couple of years for you, or?
It's been 2 years.
Mhm.
Yes, and it's been the best journey of my life. It's been such a great experience to be here in this amazing country with amazing resources and the food, the water, the people, the medicines. It's like my new family here. I feel really like I have a new family.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. It's really interesting too because there's more to your story, right? You shared with me, and I hope I'm not oversharing or whatever. But
No, I'm an open book, transparent.
right, awesome, awesome. And I feel like I'm kind of at this place too, right? It's very interesting that this was called a solar rebirth retreat because
Right.
the word rebirth resonates so loudly with me. I mean, I'm 58 years old, and I have only, I mean, it's been a while, probably 10 or maybe more years that I've been surrounded by metaphysical practitioners and meditation and these practices that allowed me to kind of go inside myself and kind of become who I am now, right?
Mhm.
And you also, so you have, like, when I met you and you told me that you have a 25-year-old. um
Yes, he's 25. My beautiful son is 25
I mean,
as
I thought
well.
I thought you were 25. Your energy is so young, and I guess again it's that rebirth thing that I feel, right? It's like the idea, like, okay, I've been through life. Some of it was not so easy, but I'm grateful for everything that's ever happened to me, and now the universe has like delivered this new energy to you and this new
Yeah.
like moment to re-experience life of your own making, of your own creation, right?
That is exactly what is happening at this time in my life. I feel like all the things that I needed to go through, all the, ups and downs and the, dramas and traumas. Like I feel that there's been a little bit more of a door opening for a little more bliss and like ability to receive. I suppose you could say. I'm like,
Mhm,
oh,
mhm,
thank you. Like just receiving a little bit, abundance from the universe and more beautiful connections, more alignment.
mhm, mhm.
Someone said recently to me, you're not lucky, you're aligned. Because
That's
I've
it.
always been, I'm Irish as well. I'm Irish. So it's always like,
Mhm,
oh, you have the
mhm,
lucky star over you. But I'm becoming more aligned now. So I just needed to kind of deal with those things, with those karmic contracts,
yep.
And there's so many more, this ours right now. And there's, so I never say really it's like getting easier, but yeah, there was a lot of things, my sister's death and having a child so young. And those were like pretty big things.
Yeah. But again, like, and when you were going through them, they seemed like difficult and like, oh my God, this is happening to me, not for me, right? And now you can look back and you can say, wow, what a beautiful person I am because of that, like,
Yeah.
because all that I went through all of that, you know. You said something interesting. I had a great conversation with Nico Medium today. Nico the Medium is a guest I've had on my show, and we were talking about kind of divine alignment, or just like, the idea of aligning with your true self, right? Your true inner purpose, and what that feels like. And you know, you were there for the experience, and I apologize because I probably mentioned it last week on the show. The whole experience that I went through, you know, losing my glasses right in the waterfall,
Yeah, you
and
lost your glasses.
that to me was such a significant part of my experience because of how kind of scary it was in a way, because I can't see anything outside of, you know, 2 or 3 feet when I don't have my glasses. But just the way that I was able to kind of step back from myself and watch myself handle it, you know, watch myself deal with the situation and still function in the group and still be present, right? I didn't allow it to take me out of the moment. Um,
Right.
and
And I see now you have new glasses or your glasses back. So that's good.
yeah, no, I got new glasses, but I seriously felt like I was collaborating with the universe in throughout that whole thing to experience it specifically, right? You know, I don't know if that makes sense, but
It makes
Nico mentioned, when I tell the story, there was a moment when I was sitting at the top of the waterfall where I was thinking in my head, okay, should I take my glasses off and put them in my pocket and hold them? And something made me decide not to do that, right? And it was like, because that was supposed to happen.
right.
And like, you know, having gone through it, so and feeling successfully having gone through it and looking back, I'm like, it was supposed to happen, it did happen, and I nailed it. You know what I mean? I just totally nailed it, and it feels good. It was just a lot of validation. The whole being in alignment thing is partially how you deal with existence, right? What is your essence? What is your true essence of who you are? That's really what it comes down to. um,
Right. Yes. And also acknowledging that you had a beautiful wedding as well.
oh my God,
Thank
right?
you so much for bringing us into the beautiful wedding and the proposal and the whole thing. Ah, it was so beautiful, so divinely orchestrated. I was like, oh, I wanted to go to a wedding, and yeah.
Total, you know what, totally was. And again, that was also again part of this amazing, that was probably the best week I've had in a very, very long time, mostly because of intention. It was all very authentic, it was all intentional. I mean, I you know, I've been with Janice for 6 years. We've talked about getting married. We've both been married before, so it wasn't like a priority, right? But we were like, wait a second, we're here in this amazing place. Davy Joe, who is a friend of mine who's phenomenal. I'm like, oh my God, wait, I have an opportunity to get married by Davy Joe, right? And
Yeah.
here and in this moment, and it was a true testament to creating your own reality, right? Like exactly the way you want it to be. It was, you know, even without my glasses, I got married. Even without my glasses, I did this. I did, you know, I was talking to Janice earlier and I'm like, you know, I wonder, like, even without my glasses, the cold plunge, I think, was a lot worse. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, so I was like, well, yeah, I didn't have my glasses and I did a cold plunge on top of it. So it's like, you know, and
The
Hardy was,
cold plunge.
yeah, and you know, when you're doing the cold plunge, Hardy is coaching you and he's telling you, you did this, you could do anything, and it's really an inspiring moment to go through. Um, I don't know if I would do another cold plunge, but I guess I would if I was challenged to or inspired to.
Oh, I know that's a really special part of retreats. And the ones I've done as well, that's when people really bond the most. When they go through the cold plunge, there's like a bonding thing that can really happen because you go through a really hard, you know, in the breath and the, you know, and then you overcome it together as a group. It's like so phenomenal. So I'm really glad that you went through this and you're having a positive, you know, about the glasses and going through everything and having to use your other senses.
That was it, exactly. So many people responded to that, like the universe was having you, you know, just experience it from a different lens, right? Like, no pun intended. But yeah, really. And I want to say hello to Grace. Don't go chasing waterfalls, she says.
Don't go chasing waterfalls.
Yeah,
Aw.
yeah. So that was just perfect. Okay, so all right, so we talked about you know, where you started. We talked about kind of what you brought to it and how you went this metaphysical way. I want to know, because I can see it, and I've been actually been wanting to hear this since I met you.
Mm-hmm.
What it is that it brings to you, like what is it? Because I mean, I see you light up so much when you're doing what you do, and that's obviously an indication that you're in the right place, right, and doing the right thing. But how does it feel to you? What is it brought to you now that you're doing these exercises with people?
Hmm. I really enjoy seeing people have relief from what they're struggling with, and to have ability to feel connection again, to themselves, to their body, to their family, to their ancestors,
Mhm.
to love, to experience love. I
Mm,
feel like it just comes back to love,
mhm,
experiencing love and being in a portal of love with people who are authentically showing up and saying, hey, I'm really curious about this thing that's been going on in my life, and this pattern, and this, or these relationships, or these different blockages, and I want to really go deeper, and I really want to work through them. And so it really brings people in that are wanting to do this, to have relief and to connect to even a higher power, or God, or the universe, and connect to love again, and have more connection. And I like it because it's community based.
mhm,
It's community based, and it brings people together in community that would otherwise not necessarily be together.
mhm, mhm. That's for sure. That's definitely for sure. There was a lot of different people in that group, people that I probably wouldn't have encountered on my everyday, and I truly felt connected to each one. I definitely had an experience with most people one on one, but the energy overall was really just amazing.
I
Um,
know, I know. And that's what Constellations does. It brings people together from all walks of life.
yeah. Yeah. So can we talk a little more specifically about that specific exercise that we did?
Sure, yes,
Um,
sure. We
and
can do anything you want to know about constellations that I can provide, just ask away.
okay, you know what? Actually, let me, in the meantime, I'm going to pop up your website at the bottom there. So if people are interested in what we're talking about, they can find out more. But as I said, kind of, and I don't want to insult what you do. I mentioned generational trauma, right? Like I think
Yes.
that's kind of the word that most people know, right,
Hmm.
about what it is. Like, oh, it's something from my passed down in my family. My dad was an alcoholic and he was angry, and that's generational trauma, like in a kind of in a very vague sense. So I mean, let's talk about the exercise, because you literally lined up, what was it, 5 people, like
I think it was seven.
7 people.
Seven each line. So I put
Okay.
like 7 generations. And this is an exercise. It's a very common exercise among constellation facilitators, and it's a very simple exercise, but anybody can do it. And but call me if you want it, like more specific details on it. So it's really an exercise that helps people to physically embody and understand how generational trauma is passed down through our lineage and through our DNA.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, and because I think, like I said, as a witness to it, there's a visual aspect to it. So just so the audience understands, the
Yeah.
seven people that you lined up
Hmm.
represent we choose the one person that we want to deal with, and that person is kind of the head of the line, right? And then the generations behind are
Well,
the seven.
actually, no, it's just any 7 people line up in.
Mhm.
So someone's at the bottom, and then they line all the way up until the top to the seventh one. And so they can just stand there, and there is no like assignment of who they are, or there's no, but oftentimes whoever gets in the line ends up in a position that's kind of meant for them as well. They can kind of tap into, I always say, all right, now feel into this position in the line you're in. And we
Mhm.
can think of it as the child is first, and then after that is the parent, then the grandparent, then the great-grandparent, then the great-great-grandparent, then the great-great-great-grandparent, and so on. So then the people start feeling into, oh, I'm in like the grandma position or the grandfather. I'm in the great-grandfather. I wonder what my great-great-great-grandfather had to go through. Or, wow, I feel like, and they can start to feel into their own lineage of that position somatically, because we're tapping into the somatics of our own body. And also we're working with the quantum field and family constellations. So that's why, and people have a resonance, they can feel into what that might have been like for their own family member. And just to be in a generational, it's just a nice exercise to demonstrate how generational trauma is passed down through the lineage unconsciously. As soon as you're born, you receive all that your parents and your grandparents and your lineage and everything went through for you to be born, all of your ancestors for thousands of years of that bloodline. And so we have the rocks. I have these rocks that I give to the people at the end of the line in the seventh, the position of 7, and then they pass the rocks down through, and each person turns to receive the rocks and basically says, I will carry these for you out of love. And that's basically what we're doing with our families when we're born. Right. I will carry this for you out of love. And we don't even know what we're really carrying, or do we? I don't know. I mean, it depends on what you believe about what we decide before we come here.
True. Yeah.
So we're saying, okay, I'll carry this for you. And then it's like that the rocks represent the physical aspect of all that your parents and your grandparents went through, all the dramas and the traumas, all the things that they had going on in physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually,
Right.
And then we pass
I think there was an aspect to it as you were explaining that, right? That to me brought to mind, like kind of visually, I guess, and just conceptually of not only, okay, is this my father and my grandfather, my great grandfather, but also the cultural aspects of what might have been going on at that time in that generation, right? So you're talking about all of the things my lineage had to go through. You're talking about like caveman survival, right? Like having to survive in the wilderness and like having to survive tribal wars, and all of these things are energetic signatures, right? That have
energetic signatures of the land that your ancestors came from. What happened on the land at that time? What was going on in that country? What wars were happening? What different things were happening? How did it affect your family? And all the way back to tribe. Yeah, all the way back. So so then there are people that do constellations just for land and just for countries, and it's more a meta. It's not so micro. Wow. It's more macro, and they're going to these places and they're doing constellations for political systems and where wars were to shift and help see what does the land need.
Wow, that's really interesting. Yeah, because I can relate to that, because again, everything is energy, right? So I mean, I've talked to astrologists who also kind of have explained that to me, right? Like how everything's countries are affected, like the world is affected, everything is its own like little entity that can be affected by energy and by what's happening.
Exactly. And this constellations can help to shift the land as well as the families and the different layers. There's so many layers to this work. It's just unlimited possibilities as well for change. Miracles happen.
Totally. And I think, and I'm just kind of responding to this out loud, the role of the individual kind of becomes more important, right? It's like almost like, wait a second, you don't just need to get through life and have these things happen to you. You can actively play a part in the energy cycle, right? In the energies that you bring to the picture, and the energies that you receive, and the energies that you put back out.
Yes, it's a way you can take responsibility for your family, for yourself, for your lineage. You can actively shift it, and it's very immediate. This work is when the love starts to flow again, and the different barriers or burdens are shifted, the results are immediate within 1 week. Sometimes, like very quickly, you can start to. It's a very subtle and deep modality.
Totally. Yeah. No, it was amazing to witness, and just to take further what you were talking about with the rock part of the exercise, right? Because this was also something I thought was amazing was, you get what's happening in the physicality of the rock being passed and the rock being accepted, right? But then you go all the way to the front of the line, and then you go back.
Yes. So you pass the rocks all the way down, saying, I will carry this for you out of love of my family system and loyalty, my unconscious loyalties or my conscious loyalties to my family system. And then I carry those all the way down. Then when you get to the bottom, the person at the bottom holds the rocks from the whole line, and they can really feel into, wow, all the generations before me, what they went through for me to be here, and all the different things, the dramas, the traumas, the trials, the burdens, and all the things, generational traumas. And then they hold that, they feel it. And then the cool part of the exercise is to have the experience of being consciously able to turn, the person turns and says, I've carried these for you out of love, and they're no longer aligned for me to carry anymore. They're no longer, I don't want to carry them anymore, and I'm going to give them back to you. And I'm ready to release them. And then the whole family system does the same thing. The next person turns and they'll say, okay, I will do that. I will take them back. And then the system feels it kind of taking responsibility. The parents take responsibility, the grandparents, and then all the way back up. And then people actually feel some relief from, okay, wow, okay, like I don't have to carry this on my own anymore. The people before me are going to take some responsibility as well. So, okay. And then at the end, I have the last person at the end go to the earth and ask Mother Earth, please, to help us with transmuting these with peace and love, and let the earth to, saying thank you to the earth for carrying it all as well, and then going down to the earth with it to kind of release.
Yeah. And what I thought was really amazing was it wasn't just one person that said it. A few of the people were talking about like how the rocks felt lighter, right?
I didn't hear that.
Oh, you didn't hear that?
No.
Yeah. As they were being passed down and like let go of, like they said that the rocks felt lighter, like when they got them back. Like, yeah, I thought that was real. I didn't know you didn't hear that. Yeah.
I didn't hear that part. That's amazing. I'm not surprised. And wow.
That was really interesting. I thought that was really amazing. And again, I think just the visual of the idea of carrying burdens, through generational bloodlines, and then kind of releasing them and giving them back, and not taking them on as a burden, like you took them on out of the loyalty, but now you're like, okay, I need to let it go in order for me to move forward. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. It's a great exercise.
Yeah. So, and I see Tony is commenting, oh, wow, this is the only problem is I can't get a hold of those people. Well, that's why the exercise is just a representation of those people, right? And I think that's a good way to release it, right? If you can't actually, deal with these people that have handed you the trauma, it's just a representation. It's just a role-playing kind of representation of it. But I think, again, that all goes back to intention and energy, right? If that's what your intention is, I want to let go of this, I want to role play this, the idea of this letting go, then that's how you can do it. You can manifest it that way.
Yes, and that's the cool thing about family constellations is you don't need the family members to be there, because other people can step into the role of your family member, and then the transmission happens for you in your own family system without your family member being there.
That's right. And that was another amazing thing. I remember Davy Joe, we were talking about Davy Joe, how emotional he got, right? And he was in one of the roles, he was in the role of the father, and there was a lot of issues with the father. And and oh man, it was just so powerful to watch him get emotional over the energy that the wife and the daughter felt, and how they had to kind of deal with the father, and just the whole thing about relationships and how people related to each other. You really got strangers, right, to step into these roles and feel them like very deeply. Like it was really intense.
Yes. Because in family constellations, other people embody the energy of the family system and they start to act and behave like your family members.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
Which is kind of a strange thing to imagine, but it's because we're dealing with a quantum field that's created in which there's a portal that opens and people are actually able to step into the energy of the family system of that particular family member, and that's where the healing occurs.
Yeah.
And it's usually because there's something within that own person that's representing that resonates as well
Yeah.
with that family system. So then it's really cool because it's not acting, it's not playing, it's not acting from your mind. It's really somatically feeling into, what am I feeling right now as the aunt? What am I feeling right now as the dad? What am I feeling right now as Michael's sister, Michael's dad, whatever? You really feel into it, and then the movements happen and the people start saying things that is actually accurate. They sound just like your family member, or they start to feel like they want to cry or scream or walk away or say the things that were never able to be said in the family system. In the family, it uncovers the hidden keys that families need to be able to say these things so they can move forward.
Amazing, really amazing. And you're bringing back this idea that I felt, and this was excuse me, the first time that I documented one of Hardy's pranic breathing breathwork sessions, right? um, I hadn't experienced breathwork up at that point, so I was experiencing it only as an observer, and there were some people in the room having very, very intense experiences, right? Screaming and yelling and crying and going through this very, very intense emotional stuff that as an empath, it was just tough to be in the room with that. But I feel like what I felt like when I was done with that experience was, oh my God, the world needs a lot of healing, right? Just in general. And related to what you're saying, even though there was the sharing, right? And this person would say, oh, this is where that feeling came from, this specific experience or that specific experience. I was able to see exactly what you just said, that it's a frequency. It's a frequency of healing that needs to happen, right? That other people can tune into and feel that emotion, because it doesn't matter what the specific experience is. It's an energetic frequency.
It's an energetic frequency, yes. And there's 3 ways to participate in constellations. You can witness, you can talk about what's going on in your life that you want to work through, any issue, or you can be the representative in the constellation, someone else's family system. Yeah.
Pretty amazing.
So, it's a very hard thing to explain until you try it, but it works to really clear the family and generational issues. And it's your family members don't need to be there, which is nice. So you can just kind of go do your own work, and it helps you and it helps them and it helps all your generations behind you and all your generations moving forward.
Yeah. Amazing to see. And I know, I mean, probably a couple of years ago, I remember going through an experience. It was probably mostly here, right? In thought. I was just thinking things and feeling things. And I felt something about my relationship with my dad who had passed, that it was like a realization, right? Like that everything was okay, right? Like
Wow.
maybe we didn't have this kind of relationship with each other, but we had this, right? And it was just this kind of relief, and I
Aw.
I felt it across realms, right? So I was like, wow, I just healed something in myself, but I just healed it in my father. Like I felt it heal across a generation, just through a thought, just like I don't, maybe maybe I would have called it a download. I didn't know that word back then, but it was kind of like that kind of just a cross realm moment. You know what I mean? When your whatever's in your head is literally like in another realm and making contact with that other realm, and that's what.
Wow. That's beautiful.
Yeah. So
Well,
when
that's what happens in constellations is you're connecting to either your lost loved ones that have passed away and you're honoring their death and or even you're just able to connect with them
Mhm.
and your relatives that are not here or living relatives that you've had some type of a blockage with or something rupture, and then you're able to actually communicate with them through the host of another person that's tapping into the frequency, like you were just saying that you had this connection with your dad after he passed away, and it's like a signal or something, and you had a moment where you're actually like connecting on some frequency that has nothing to do with this 3D realm.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
it's one of those things that when people start to experience it in constellations, they're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. How is this even possible? Like, how am I able to
Right.
be talking to my dead relative? Or how am I able to be like
Right.
connecting and really like they're right there, or my aunt or my cousin or my friend, and they're like right there, my grandpa, my grandma, they're like
Mhm.
right in the room.
Right. Totally. And have you had experiences on, I'm imagining you have, I don't want to step on my own foot here, but where people have come back and said, oh my God, I didn't talk to this relative for so long, but after this constellation, like I reached out and we're healed. We've like
Yeah.
reconnected, and yeah.
It happens all the time
Yeah.
where somebody does a constellation about a family member, a friend, or a relative, or a difficult situation that has not been resolved. And the next day, like the person literally calls them on the phone, or
Mhm.
later that day and is like, I want to be in your life, or
Right.
like, let's work on this thing. Or I have a recent constellation I did with someone who didn't have any contact with her mom for like 8 years or something, long time.
Mhm. Mhm.
And we did a constellation, and she called me a week later and she said, you're never going to believe this. My mother is getting on an airplane and coming to visit me, and said she wants to work on our relationship. And now we're starting to work on the relationship, and she's getting on the airplane.
Wow.
And I was like, really? She's like, I don't know how that happened from that
That's amazing.
that portal opened just because her mother in the constellation was acknowledged and the daughter was acknowledged, and the pain between them and the generational pain was released.
Mm. Mhm. Wow.
And then she got on the airplane.
So the mom called the daughter not knowing that she had done this at all.
Right, right,
Wow.
right,
Wow.
right. The
What
mother called
what
the daughter.
validation. What amazing
That
validation.
was so awesome. Yeah, for her, for me too, as well. It always blows my mind to this day. I've been involved in constellations for 20 years
Mm.
or more,
Yeah, yeah.
and experiencing them, and then facilitating,
Right.
and it still blows my mind every time. Every
Yeah.
time. It's like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. Like this, what a great tool we have.
Totally amazing. Well, I know, like for me, it was, I obviously am into energy. I've been doing this show for a while, and that's all I talk about. But this was a new kind of iteration of it, right? A new kind of understanding of how it works, and just another aspect of it. I mean, I know it's infinite. Energy works in infinite amount of ways, and we're always learning new things that energy does. But this was really amazing, and I definitely recommend it for people, especially for people who know, kind of like have an inkling that okay, I think there is something with my family. I'd like to resolve tensions with my family, or even if the family's not around and you just kind of feel like there's residual energy holding you back. I would definitely recommend reaching out to Heather, um,
Yeah.
and looking into family constellations and this kind of I want to say therapy, but just this kind of work, this kind of spiritual work. um,
Yeah.
really
It
awesome.
works. Thank you. I do one-on-one sessions as well, and it works fine one-on-one online. People just use objects. They move them around from their own space. They pick objects. We can do one-on-one healing constellations, family constellations, or come see me at a retreat, or go to one of my in-person groups, or any of those options. And sometimes I do online constellations with groups online. I did that through COVID, which was really, really fun, and it actually worked pretty well. So that's something I might consider doing again. But for now, people can do one-on-one online with me.
Awesome. And Tony saying thank you. I think Tony got a couple of ideas out of this conversation, related to her own situation, which is always great. That's
Yeah.
what this is all about, right? This whole show is about intention.
Wow.
We put the energy out there just to show it, and people show up and receive it all the time. I love that. I'm so grateful for it. I'm super grateful that you decided to come on and share everything about what you do and a little bit about our retreat together and our time together.
Yeah.
You're definitely an amazing soul. I will definitely be back to Costa Rica. I'm pretty sure we'll cross paths again.
We will for sure cross paths again. And I love this beautiful show. Thank you so much for inviting me here. I love the whole design too. It reminds me of being in the DNA. In the
Thank
DNA.
you. Oh yeah, very cool. That's it. We're in the stream for sure. For sure. And Tony says I would definitely love to talk to you, Heather. So there you go.
Yay.
Look forward to hearing from Tony. Tony, you can reach Heather on her website down below, scrolling down at the bottom. Ninja Kitty says thank you, Heather, and I say thank you, Heather. I'm going to put you in the green room. Don't go away because I want to say goodbye to you personally. But I'm going to sign off to the audience, and thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
We'll talk to you again soon. Oh man, Heather Dowling, amazing stuff. So many ways that we can use energy and our thoughts, right? And think about our families and just different ways to do inner work. And I think it's important that we're always looking at that and trying new things, even meditation. Deborah, thank you for being here. A lot of people like meditation. Oh, I can't meditate. Well, that's for me, that's where it started. The first thing that I did was just focus on my breath, and that's what connected me to myself, and it just built from there. As a matter of fact, let's close the show with Sage. I usually open the show and I clear the space sonically, but I'm just going to close out the show with Sage. So I want you guys to breathe with me. I'm gonna make some noise with Sage, and I want you to breathe with me. Breathe in through your nose and hold it, and then breathe out. And here we go. Breathe in. Let it out. One more time. And let it out. Immediately. I have to laugh because every time I do 3 breaths, I immediately feel connected to myself and to you guys. Thank you guys so much for being here. I have Cheryl Murphy on Holding Space on Tuesday on the Sacred Spiral Network. And I don't know who's going to be here next week. Probably I'm going to try to get the retreat group for Live Stream of Consciousness next week. But I just say show up. It's always a blast. It's always amazing. I will see you guys next week. Oh, Deborah, I see your question. You know what? I don't know. I'm going to have to measure it. I don't know what hertz it is. I know the story of Sage is we saw it in a crystal shop. I picked it up. I rang it, and somebody came in from the other room. I felt it deep inside. Somebody came in from the other room and said, "Oh my God, my eyes are tearing. What's going on?" And I just connected with the bowl. As a matter of fact, when the bowl sits over here and I talk, sometimes it actually starts ringing in response to my voice. So I'm very connected to the bowl. It didn't matter what the hertz was tuned to, but I will find out, because now you've got me curious as to why I'm connected with it. And Ninja Kitty, I love that. All right, guys, thanks. I got to sign off. I got to say goodbye to Heather, who's waiting in the green room. I will see you guys next week. Let me find my outro. Where is it? Up. There it is. Peace.
This is the theme song for the live stream of consciousness. You gotta ask yourself whether reality is a dream or you are dream reality. We're